Hey guys, this is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. How is everybody doing? Let's get right into it today because we are joined by the newest member of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Well, there's two new housewives of Beverly Hills, but we're here with the one and only Sutton Stracke. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's
So,
going on? How is
uh,
your quarantine going?
my quarantine, I think we're entering week 6, and I have 3 teenagers at home. So if you hear anything in the background, it's the boys being loud. So, we're just doing like everybody else.
I didn't even realize we're in week 6. I've lost track. I stopped
I
watching the news.
I am counting every day, and my dishwasher runs every day. That's the big thing. Like, how many dishwasher runs in a day? About 4.
Really.
Yeah,
This is what happens from being at home with children.
with 3 kids that eat a lot.
How old are your children now?
They're 13, 16, and 17.
So you're doing the homeschooling thing.
Well, yeah, except for now, right now, the boys are on spring break, which, really they needed
Uh,
because they hadn't gotten a chance to like just hang out and play video games all day for a while. So I'm glad they did that.
I heard homeschooling is so tough. I mean, I don't have children, which is fine, but from all my friends, they're like homeschooling is the hardest thing ever.
No, actually, I live for it because it starts again next week. And so then they'll actually have classes to do. At least it gives some structure. So
That
it's,
makes sense.
and they're still like taking exams and stuff. So they have to do their work. You just
It's
have to.
like it's like real school.
Yeah. Well, I think I was being kind of lax before and I let them just like stay in their pajamas and whatever. This week, I'm making them actually get dressed in something and go to an area of the house that's not their bed so that they have to take a class like somewhere that looks presentable and not just, in their sheets.
That's that's smart. I mean, I've doing the same thing. Like I've switched where I've been recording these episodes like 6 times since this thing started. And I think I finally found like the perfect where I'm comfortable and the background looks okay. Like I've just switched it up so many
I like your
times.
pink behind you. I did the same thing. Well, except I'm not switching. I'm like, this is just where it's going to stay because I'm not tech savvy. So I'm like, this I know how to do. I can do this one.
I am not tech savvy at all whatsoever in
Okay,
any way, shape, or form. And it's if I'm not at this point, it's never gonna happen.
exactly. Look, I'm 48 years old. What am I going to do?
It's just this is what it is. So tell me about you. Like, where did you grow up? I know you're from the South. I mean, I know, but share with the viewers, the listeners, where you're from.
Right. I forgot to turn off my notifications, so I apologize if they start dinging at you.
I
Uh,
haven't heard anything.
Um, I am from Augusta, Georgia, so I was raised in Augusta. My mother was from Charleston. My dad was from Texas, so very Southern. I don't think I left past the Mason-Dixon line until I was 23. So, I was really like raised Southern, totally.
So you grew up with like just the typical Southern upbringing.
Yeah, just, Augusta's is not a small town. It's a kind of a medium city, like 250,000 people. So it's not little, but we kind of stick to ourselves a little bit. And I went to a fine arts high school there. So it was a public fine arts high school. So that was kind of fun. I mean, we had cool things to do there growing up, but I did leave.
And did you go to school for ballet, or because I know you went to New York after that for ballet? Is that what you went to high school for?
Yeah, so in high school I was a ballet dancer, and then in the school we took ballet, and then I did like acting stuff. We did everything. Like I did as many things as I could while I was there, and then I went to college in South Carolina and kept dancing there, and then danced after college. Moved to New York as a aspiring dancer and choreographer, and realized that it's really hard living on like $150 a week in New York City, which is what I was.
Uh, yeah. So you really were doing like the starving artist thing.
Yeah, 100%. I was a live-in nanny, so I could take classes all day and do stuff for dance, and then like at 4, I would go and take care of these kids. And New York kids are interesting because really moms go out almost every night. So that was sort of my life for a year.
Like just taking care of these kids and
Taking care of
I
these kids and thinking about like how I was going to do this dance career. And I think while I was there, I just changed my mind I will always be a dancer, and I kept dancing, but I moved from being a nanny to working for a choreographer named Merce Cunningham, which was a big dance company, very renowned throughout the world. And I started working for him, became very close to him, and started working in development, raising money for him. So that was kind of my transition in dance.
And you loved what you kind of transitioned into.
I did. I mean, I love to raise money for something that I feel really passionate about. So I felt passionate about Merce, and I got to be in the studio every day, and I took classes every day. So it was a good way for like baby steps out of being a professional dancer into just being in the dance world. So yeah, no, it was a great experience.
That's perfect. And then how did you end up from there to Beverly Hills or California? Was there any stops along the way?
There were lots of stops along the way. I got married in New York and had my first baby in New York. And then 9/11 happened while I was pregnant, and it just freaked me out. So a year later, I moved to Augusta, and my husband's job at the time, he could do it kind of remotely. And so we lived in Augusta for 5 years, and I had 2 more children. And then his job took him to London. So we all moved to London, including my baby grand piano. Crazy.
Wow.
Why? And
You
then
had to have the piano with you, didn't you?
I can't not have my piano with me. And so we took the piano to London, and then like a year and a half later moved to California.
Did you at least play the piano when you were in?
Of course I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, stranger things have happened. People have moved pianos and then not played them.
No. I play it. And actually, it was so funny when we moved to California, I had it cleaned and redone because the move is a lot for the piano. And he was cleaning out the piano, and my son's Shrek toothbrush, he had learned how to like put it in the thing and kick it into the strings.
Wow.
Some notes were sounding funny. I'm like, what is this? It was a Shrek toothbrush.
Wow.
So, yeah, that piano.
And where was your apartment in New York? Like, were you down near the Trade Center or no, you were uptown?
No, I was on the Upper East Side. I worked in what's now the Meat District. I worked before it was like the Fashion Meat District. I was there when it was actually like meat hanging on the hooks.
Oh, I remember those days. Yes.
Yeah. So like get off the 14th Street subway, and I would walk down Washington to Bethune Street. So that's where I worked, but I lived up in the 80s in Upper East Side. Yeah.
So that's nice. And then did you settle into Beverly Hills life very quickly?
When we first moved to California, we lived in Laguna Beach, California. And that was a tricky one for me because I lived in New York for a long time and loved London. And so I see myself as sort of a city girl. So it's hard Laguna is beautiful. It's really laid back, so it was a tough adjustment. So 4 years later, I was like, we've got to move to LA. I need city.
I know some of the OC housewives and they're all very laid back. Did you know any of them when you lived there? Like
No.
Heather or Vicky or any of those?
No, I didn't. I remember that my manicurist was Vicky's manicurist. That's as close as I got. And I went to the same gym as Tamara, so I would see her every now and then. But no, I didn't really know any of them.
So were you so happy when you came to Beverly Hills? Were you like, okay, at least this is a step towards the city?
Oh, hell yeah. I was like, thank God. Yes.
You're like, thank God.
It's hard to complain about Orange County because it's so beautiful. But I just I love museums. I'm on the board for the Museum of Contemporary Art here. And I'm on the board for American Ballet Theater. Like, I like doing stuff like that. So I needed to kind of get back into that world.
And then tell us about being on the top party host in 2017, the top 100. Has this come up yet in any interviews?
No. And it's so funny because I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
Well, you were on it, and so was Oprah, and so was Michelle Obama.
I know, it's like good company. Well, I like to give parties. I was like, okay, I'll take it.
It says that you were like notorious for some of your like A-list celeb parties that you threw.
Well,
who is one of these celebrities like a Madonna or a Cher, like a Brad Pitt?
Pretty much it was me and Madonna and Cher. Whitney came a couple of times. No, I don't know who the celebrities were.
And you didn't invite me? Like, I don't know. I thought we were.
Now that I know you, I'll send you an invite. My Christmas party is pretty good.
Thank you. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. So yeah, but you are on this list and it just every time it comes up. So
It's really nice. It's very nice to know.
there are worse things to be on than with Oprah and Obama.
Yeah. Well, we have so much in common. No, I'm just kidding. Kidding.
Yes, exactly. So let me see. So you settled in the Beverly Hills, and then did you know, so like was the show already on the air when you got there? Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, or this is way back before it even started, like 10 years ago?
I moved here. It will be 9 years, so it must have already been on. Yeah.
It must have
I
just
I
started.
guess did it just or it was about to start or something. I don't know timeline really well, but yeah.
And then did you know any of the women like way back then, like Adrian or like Lisa Vanderpump? Like were you kind of
No, I met Adrienne at a party when I first moved here, but she probably wouldn't remember. But I remember seeing her and met her for a fundraiser. I knew Lisa Rinna. That was really it. So
and that's really the person you knew before coming on the show?
yeah, yeah. I didn't know anybody else.
And then I also saw, and I don't know where I saw this in some article where you said, in a way, you're very non Beverly Hills because you don't do any Botox.
Yeah, I'm rethinking that.
I was going to say, no, I think like if you're not doing Botox and you look like this, like, please tell me what you're doing
No,
over here.
when you see yourself on TV like I did last week, I was like, oh, I think maybe I should go in line for the Botox. I did. Kyle dragged me to see her friend Nurse Jamie, and she did filler on me, and and I was like, I don't even know what filler is, but let's do it. It's fine, and it was sugar based, so I felt good about that. Like injecting poison into my face makes me a little nervous. I'm just nervous about it. But I might be getting a head to toe, whole body something this summer. You just never know.
Well, I have a lot of poison in my face and I've been getting it for many years. And I am a big fan of it. And
I know,
I
like I was missing the boat on this, so maybe I'll try it.
But at the end of quarantine, I think I'm going to need to go somewhere myself. That's going to be the
I
first
think there's
thing.
going to be, remember, the lines from the grocery store are going to move to the lines at all of those Botox centers.
Well, especially in Beverly Hills, right?
Yeah, it's going to shut down Beverly Hills for
I
sure.
want, well, my whole thing, especially with like maybe New York or Beverly Hills, like I wonder if people are, I would think like having house calls. I mean, as much as people are supposed to be, this is where my mind goes. Not that I want one. I'm just like, you
Right.
would think some people are throwing a certain amount of cash to somebody to
I'm
get
sure,
house
yeah, for
calls.
sure. I mean, that's got to happen, and you have to be careful with it. I just think things, especially on your face, I would be nervous about. But
Yeah.
that's all.
So tell us about the Sutton concept.
Well, so my store is called Sutton, and our website is the suttonconcept.com because sutton.com was taken. It's my name, which is weird, and it took a lot of convincing to get me to do it. But the logo is my dad's. He was an architect, and it's his handwriting that we found. So that's why I did it. That's why I named it that. It's a concept store, so everything is for sale in the store: the furniture, the clothes, the art, just everything. So you walk in, and it's an environment, and it's really just like, come have a glass of champagne, sit down, relax. There's no like pressure on buying anything. Just enjoy the view there, the vibe.
Interesting. So you come, you have a glass of champagne, you sit on a couch, you look at some artwork, and
Yeah,
you're like, that piece of artwork over there, will I actually want it? Like, that's how it works.
totally. See, that's what you do. You give them a little
Interesting.
champagne, and then the next thing you know, they have to have the dress on a mannequin. That's how that works.
I like it. And
Yeah.
how did you, like, where did this come about? Like, how did you decide to start this?
I've been wanting to open a store for a long time. In fact, I've had that space for over 3 years. It'll be 4 years now in August. And I never got the nerve to do it. And, I went through a divorce a few years ago. And so when that happened, it kind of inspired in me to find my inner strength to do something that I've always wanted to do. And I love fashion. I love art. I'm a big art collector. I love like silver and collecting English silver and things like, and jewelry. So it's like throwing everything that I love into one place.
That's nice. And how do you decide? You just, something catches your eye just out and about?
It's been really fun. I was in Paris in January, thank the good Lord, before all of this happened. And our Paris shipment just came in last week, and I haven't even really gotten to put my hands on it yet. Because I went to the flea market and just found a bunch of stuff. It was really fun. I have some designer friends, and so a lot of the clothes that we have in the store are people that I know. No, I would say all of the clothes that we have in the store are people that I know, designers that I know. So it's like my little family there. Yeah, it's been super fun. It's stressful, but it's fun.
That's nice. And we're going to get into some of these designer friends in just a
Oh,
minute.
okay.
All good, all good. So now, so did you know before, like, so before you were involved in the show, like throughout the years, like, did you know any of the other women? I mean, I know I asked when you first started, but like, did you know like Kyle or Kim, Brandy, like nobody really except Rinna?
Oh, no, I knew Brandy. Brandy and I have a common friend. And so I know her socially. She's come over to my house a couple of times. And so that's the only one that I ever really knew besides Lisa. Yeah.
And then how did being on the show this season come about? Like, how'd you get cast? Like, who came to you? Who approached you? How did that all start?
Casting comes to you, and it took me a couple of years to be convinced. And I was remembering a few years ago, I went to lunch with Lisa Rinna and my friend Jennifer Tilley, and was like, they've come to me, I don't know what to do. And Lisa said, here's the thing, if you do it, you've got to be prepared. You share everything of your life, and it's really tough, but it's really great. And so I was like, yeah, I don't think I can do that right now. So then last year I thought, I think I can do this year. So that's how that whole ball got rolling.
That makes sense. And right, like Lisa Ren has been really vocal about, and that's her big gripe with like other cast members from the past of like, which I don't disagree with. Like if you're coming on a reality show, you have to just bring it all. And if something bad happens, that's just your life. Like that's what you signed
Yeah.
up for.
Yeah. So, and there you go. And to actually be yourself and not be a character of who you want to portray yourself to be. I think that, and honestly, already from watching the first episode, I'm like, oh my God, I'm such an asshole.
We're going to get into the first episode too. We have a lot of things to get into.
Okay.
So it was really Lisa Rinna. And then in the past, you decided you weren't ready. Now you're like, I'll bear it all. I'm ready. How did your friendship, because I know you've seen your Instagram. How did your friendship with Jennifer Tilley come about?
I think we met Cameron Silver. I don't know if you know him. He's great, and he owns the store decades. He's connected me with several people, and I think that's how I met Jennifer, was through Cameron. And we just hit it off. We're like sisters. I love her so much. We laugh and we cry and we play together. It's just, we have a real bond. I adore her.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so once you signed up and you made this decision and started like filming, how was that? Were you like, okay, this is exactly what I expected? Or were you like, oh my God, what the hell did I get myself into?
No, I think when we first started, I was just by myself. So that was easy. I can just walk around my house and do things. That wasn't hard. The first time I met all of the girls, I didn't film with anybody until we got to New York. So it was, that was the most nerve-wracking part. I was nervous for sure.
So you flew here on your own, et cetera, and they're like, this is where you're meeting everyone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I have an apartment in New York, so I didn't stay in that hotel. I stayed in my apartment and, just did everything that they did when I got there.
Are you still on the Upper East Side now?
Yes.
I mean, I figured so.
No, well, yes, it's a great apartment. It's a sweet apartment. It's very it's not crazy because, I'm not there all the time, but it's a great apartment. I love going there. In fact, I've been missing it, especially now. Somebody posted a picture of the tulips on Park Avenue. My apartment's on Park Avenue. I'm like, I miss them. I want to go see the tulips.
That's a good, so I usually go to like the Regency on like Park and 61st, and I have friends in like the 70s. It's a good area.
But next time you're there, we'll probably pass each other on the street.
We'll have a drink.
Yeah.
It's good to split your time, right?
Regency is good. It's good people watching.
There's a lot that goes on at the Regency. And like Cafe Carlisle, that's like my other favorite.
Me too.
Really?
Before I bought an apartment in New York, I always stayed at the Carlisle, so I got to know them really. I was really sad. One of the, what's his name, dadgummit? doorman, not the doorman, the concierge left, and I loved him, and he took such great care of me. I think he's
It
like in Thailand or something now.
it's like such a nice space. It's a great place for a drink. It's like it's never too crowded, but it's crowded enough. It's just I don't know, like that, the Mark and the Regency, that's like my trifecta.
Girl, you're speaking my language right now.
See?
Yep.
See? I live downtown, but I go out on the Upper East Side all the time. You
So
know.
I live uptown, but go out downtown.
It's
I'm like,
so funny.
everybody's like, why do you have an apartment uptown? I'm like, because I like it. It's quiet here. And then I like to go be like with the freaks downtown.
And I'm like the opposite. I like live in Chelsea. I've always lived in Chelsea or
Yep.
the West Village. I thought of moving uptown this year, like to that very area, like Park and all that. And then
Yeah.
after like a month, I was like, what was I thinking? I'm like, if I don't have this like
But
juxtaposition,
it's too
I'm like,
quiet. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, it's not for me. So how did your fashion ties come about? Like, I know like you're really good friends with like Dolce and Gabbana, and I've seen them on your Instagram, and I know they've had pieces in your store. They're involved with your store somehow. Like, how did all that start?
My Dolce thing, in fact, Jennifer and I went to Capri, went for I think it was their second Ultimoda show, which is like their couture. And we got hooked. I was never a Dolce girl before. I don't have that kind of body. So I was like, okay, I'll go try it. And then you just fall in love with both Stefano and Domenico and just their whole staff. It's just, they're the nicest, most giving people. And it was my first time to Capri, and I stayed for a week after the show. I actually stayed for like 3 weeks after the show, their fashion show. And I was like, oh, I get it. They really bring the area where the show is to their clothes. It's very specific, and they love Italy, and it just comes out, and they love their clients, and it's truly a family for sure.
And you guys just kind of fell in love with one another, like from hanging out for 3 weeks?
Yeah, and they're big ballet fans, and I don't know, we just really clicked for some reason. So Domenico has very limited English, but his partner Guy is fluent, and so Guy can sometimes help us figure out what we're trying to say to one another. It's fun.
And do they really make you a tiara every year?
They started giving me these tiaras for my birthday. Like, I've never had a tiara in my life. So I started getting tiaras for my birthday, and then I was like, I kind of dig it. So so then I
Yeah.
was like, well, maybe I'll buy them. So you get addicted. They're addictive.
I
Be
mean,
careful.
the ones we saw on the show looked great.
Yeah. Well,
Those looked really,
headband tiara. Well, there's more.
oh my God. Well, and like, so, I mean, you're really involved in, even Lisa Rinna said it, like, you buy couture, like you're involved in Fashion Week. Like you've been in New York Fashion Week, like Paris Fashion Week, you know, and I don't mean this as like a knock to any housewives, but, getting, people who aren't involved in the New York City fashion scene and even Paris, they don't realize it's like literally the NFL drafting. Like there's a whole hierarchy of who's sitting where and who's going to
Right.
what show. And there's a lot of housewives. There's a lot of designers, like no disrespect, like that just don't want housewives there. But then like you're buying the couture, like that was least like you have a real fashion connection as opposed
Yeah.
to like some people that want one.
And I think I've been to lots of New York Fashion Week shows. They're just not my favorite really because it's so crazy that week. I kind of pick and choose, and and Paris Fashion Week too for the pret-a-porter is also like a crazy because you're running around Paris trying to get up to all of these shows. It's actually more fun, I think, than New York. But couture, you're there not as a spectator, you're there as a buyer, and that's the difference. Because
Right.
if you go to ready to wear shows, you're just there to look, and maybe you could tell the design house that you want that certain piece first, but other than that, you're really not there as a buyer. And in couture, you are there as a buyer. Everybody is there as a buyer.
Right.
It's a really different experience.
I would imagine that would be. Do you have any like one piece that you've bought like at a couture show where you're just like, what was I thinking? Like, oh my God, this was so expensive. And like, where the hell am I ever going to wear this?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I love everything that I buy. The only thing that I was going to say, the one piece that I really love that I bought, I have more like treasures that maybe I'll never wear again, but I have when Ralph Simmons did his first couture show for Dior, I bought the cutoff ball gown with the black pants underneath. And I love that. I think it's iconic for Ralph and Dior. I thought that show was beautiful. And I'm a collector more. So I've worn it, I think twice, and just kind of keep it in the closet. In my one of my interview looks that I have, the green is, it was actually it was my second purchase from Jean-Paul Gaultier, his couture. So, I have all of the, and it's like, bring them out sometimes, but no, I haven't regretted any part. My checkbook might regret it, but I don't.
Seriously. I mean, I've had some things I bought, and I'm like, why did I buy this? But that's good that you haven't had any regrets.
If you think about it, for me, it's like collecting. It's like buying art. So then you can't really regret that. You can't, really even put a price on that, I think.
Totally. It's like a collection, and like it holds its value, and you could always get rid of it if you really wanted.
Or give it to my daughter, and they're all like in these bags that are well kept, and my vintage pieces too. I do that for them as well.
Do you have a favorite brand? Like, is it Dolce, or it's just...
I love Dolce. And right now I was really kind of obsessed with Louis Vuitton. This spring is good. So that's fun. I'm not like, that's not that. And I don't buy things because it's a certain designer. I just buy things that I like.
Right.
That's the thing. Like I'm not I used to love Dior. But Dolce kind of stole my heart a couple of years ago. So it's pathetic.
That's good.
Yeah. It's a dysfunctional, bad relationship.
Right. And that's not good for your checkbook either when you're in love with Dolce.
No.
That's just like a downward.
Dolce doesn't take it easy on the tags. No, it's tough.
No. So now, okay, let's get into, we've seen one episode so far. We've met you on the first episode. So now, to your reference before, so how do you feel you did on this first episode?
Well, I've got to say, it's so funny how they edit everything, but I really did walk into a girls' dinner on a Friday night in New York, knowing one person, and there's like 35 or 40 people there. And, Lisa introduced me, and then she was like, bye. And so I didn't know what to do. I was nervous. And I think then when I get nervous, I rely on like my debutante skills. I just fall back to that, which I think might have been weird to some people, but it just, that way I know how I'm acting. Like, here's the table, I know where to go. So that's why I was looking for place cards. Like, I didn't know where to sit. I don't know anybody in this room. And so that, place cards is everything to me. Makes me feel better. Like, I like to be told, go sit there. And Erica was actually the girl that said, come sit here. She was really nice. She was really welcoming. She was like, come sit over here. So it was just crazy. It was a weird experience.
Did you feel the most welcome by her, just out of that quick, like, I'm here and who's kind of pulling me in?
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely, because she wanted to make sure that I was sitting somewhere, because I didn't know. And really from that moment, also Kyle, we bonded really quickly. She's great, and she's really funny, and she wants to listen to you and get to know you. She's not, LA tends to do this when you're talking to someone. They're looking around to see who else is better to talk to. She doesn't do that. So that was refreshing.
New York does that in a different way too.
In a different way. New Yorkers are different.
Yeah. It's a different agenda here, but we do it. But I think you're right. It's probably more in LA.
Yeah, for sure.
It's more related to the business and who's who and all this other stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then did you feel not welcome? Like, who did you feel the least welcome by out of that group?
Well, I don't know. I don't think least welcome. That weekend was tough for me because I had to get to know all of these girls, and where Garcelle already knew Lisa and Denise and had a long history with Denise. And so I was really struggling just to kind of get time in to talk to people. At first it was rough to get to know Teddy. She was kind of quiet, but I'm quiet too at first. I'm not anymore. Once you get to know me, it's like, shut up. But, I'm quiet. So it was just, I think with everybody, But she was maybe the most shy out of everybody.
That's fair. And then going back to fashion, which I have a thing for fashion,
Yeah.
you then said Erica's dress was too short.
No, the things that come out of your mouth. It's like, what's that thing? Well, it was really short. What am I going to say? It was short, and I am a sucker for a short dress. I love a short dress, and I love shorts. So it was kind of short.
It was short. And Teddy, you said, was in a romper.
Yes, that's true fact.
And then with Dorit, because you thought she said Fendi, but she said Fenty, which is Rihanna's brand, and you didn't like a celebrity brand.
That is not what happened.
Tell me what happened.
I,
And
I was
I'm not giving you shade. I'm just breaking it down for
no.
everyone.
Well, okay. One, that brand had just come. I did not know about Fenty Beauty. So, but let's just start off with the first thing I said to Dorit was, "I love your dress. It's so pretty." And she was like, "It's Fenty." So when you do Dorit's weird accent thing, and I heard, and so I was like, "Fendi." I didn't know what she was saying,
Right.
and then it was, the brand was really new, and I remember I had read something about Rihanna doing something with LVMH, so I just got it wrong. Sue me. I loved the dress. It wasn't, and it's not that I don't. And the whole collaboration thing was about anybody. It's like, if I like something, I don't care who did it. If I
Right.
don't like something, I don't care if God came down and collaborated with Tom Ford on that. I just know, if I don't like it, I don't like it. And God and Tom Ford are pretty much up here for me. So, I don't
Tom
like
Ford
it.
is way up there.
I'm not going to like it just because it's my two like people. If I don't like the dress, I don't like the dress.
Yeah, and I think that Dorit didn't really understand what you were. I mean, you didn't say it to her, but I think she was like, "What?"
I think we were all confused.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah, I was
"Okay."
nervous. I'm like, what am I doing here? I don't know these people, and there's cameras all over the place, and I got to talk to everybody. It was just, oh my God.
When did you go from that, and that you're in a different city? I mean, you kind of live in New York too, but I mean, that's like a whole added thing of like you're not really close to your full-time home.
Right. Well, actually, I feel sometimes more at home in New York than I do in LA for sure.
But when did you go from that of like being nervous and there's cameras and like what to expect to like, oh, there's cameras here? I didn't even realize.
That weekend, the girls are all really sweet. I will say, I mean, everybody has their trials and tribulations, but we all want each other to succeed, and we all want each other to look good. So it was that time, like they kept moving me, like so that I would be in like better light or something that weekend. And then I was like, okay, I'm starting to get this. So then you can relax. If you know where you are, you kind of know the jam, then you can relax and actually listen to people and not be nervous about what you're doing.
Right. And did you find it like hard to speak up? Because I've spoken to some other housewives, not Beverly Hills, where like they're like, I came onto the show and I couldn't get a word in edgewise
Yeah. I
with
mean,
these
you gotta
pros.
fight. You gotta fight. You go in there and you're fighting for just to be heard or have a story told or something. Yeah, for sure. And
Because
those
this,
my friends are, they've been doing this for a while, so they're professional. So it was hard for me, and I'm so like I can be a little quiet sometimes. So that was one of the great things I think about the shows. It really pushed me to get out of that part of myself quickly. You got to go.
yeah. And it's a bunch of big personalities
Huge
that
personalities. Yeah.
who did you feel like the most close to, like just now that the whole season's over? You know what I mean? Like, is there someone you just kind of like bonded with more than everyone
Definitely
else?
Kyle. We worked together a little bit because I bought some pieces from her fashion show to put in the store. So I had to work with her a few times on that and got to spend a little bit more time one-on-one with her than any of the other girls. I also, I mean, Lisa is just always there. She just cracks me up, and she pisses me off. She cracks me up. She makes me cry. She makes me laugh. All of it. Denise, I got to know, and she's really just so down to earth and very sweet. That was she felt like a comfort spot for me. If I felt uncomfortable, she was like nurturing. So, but they all, and I liked getting to know all of them. I really did. We had a blast, and then we had a blast.
You had a blast and a blast, yes. Who did you find it the hardest to get to know out of the whole group?
I think Dorit.
Really?
Yeah, and it was funny because I thought I think that when I first met her, I was like, I think that's who I'm going to really connect with because, but it didn't. It took a long time to
Because she
connect.
she has a fashion background,
Yes.
but she was the one that was the hardest to connect with.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Do you
think
want
so.
to do you want to say anything more about
I
that?
felt like doing one of my confessionals. No.
I see you smiling. I'm like, if there's something else you want to say, you don't have to hold back from me. You're amongst friends here, Sutton.
Yeah, right. Um, trust no one. No, I don't know why we just didn't get a lot of chance to be alone together. That was more it. That that was really just the only problem.
And what about, it's always funny, I find just, you film this, you never know how it's going to get edited. You never know what's going to kind of go viral, for lack of a better word. So what about this clip where you're telling Teddy that she's boring? Like, is that what have people like slid into your DMs and they're like, okay. I mean, that is the clip that gets played on loop for you, at least the most.
Yeah, well, I think Fendi might be topping that now. Um,
Yes.
I no, I think there's more to that whole story that we're going to get to see, and I can't wait to see it either because I don't know how they're going to do it. Did I say
Right.
yes? But I think there's more to the story.
That makes sense. And then what about were you shocked at the whole, like, I know we haven't seen it yet. We'll see what happens. But this whole thing with Denise and Denise stopped filming. I mean, we did see that, which was
Right.
all over the press anyway, but
Yeah.
was that shocking?
Which part that she stopped filming?
The whole thing, really.
Not no. No, it didn't shock me.
Where do you stand on like Denise versus Brandy, so to speak?
Well, I guess because I know both of them. Um, I think I'm curious because I know one side of the story and I'm curious to see the other side because I wasn't privy to that. So I kind of haven't, I sort of think I know, but I need to get all of it before I make.
Yeah. I need to get the whole of it too.
I mean, it's so dumb.
Yeah, right. See,
Okay.
this is what happens. It's like the littlest thing becomes like the whole season's main story. I
Yeah.
mean,
There's more things in the whole season. It's not just that. So and a lot happened to us. It was definitely like up and down the whole season. And it's not just all about Denise. There's lots of people that have other problems too.
that's good to know.
Yeah.
What about like are you in contact now? Like are you still like very friendly and talk to Brandy and Denise a lot, or just one of them?
No, I've never really like talked to Brandy. I just know her socially. Denise has really kind of gone radio silent, and maybe this is a good suggestion on how she's doing. We all, we try to keep up with one another as much as possible. I'm keeping up more with Kyle than anybody. And then Lisa and I had a really long text thing last night, and she was great. Actually, Garcelle and I have both been like, what the hell? Like, how did you survive? Are you surviving? What is, we have that in common. So that's good to have like another person that kind of understands what I'm going through.
Yeah, like someone else that was new and kind of started with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause this is like, whew.
I mean, and it really probably even more so for you in a little sense, just because she was an actress, like she was in other shows.
Yes. I mean, yeah, I mean, she knew what to do. She's an actress. Like she's used to this and I'm just not at all. So, and that's why if I fuck up, that's why, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Did you get advice like from your cast of like how to handle like people like me, like, you know, interviews and press and like Instagram, and like now people are going to be hating on you. Like, did anyone give you like advice? Like you could do the best thing in the world and you'll still have 800 people hate you and DM
I
you and
think that
comment.
the most common thing that the girls have told me is don't read the negative comments. And I think I just had 24 hours of reading negative comments. So I woke up this morning like, oh shit, okay, I'm not going to look at anything today. But for 24 hours, it's like the waves are crashing on you over and over and over. It's just, it's, so we're going to take a break today. But that was the most common piece of advice.
That's, I mean, listen, it's hard advice to follow, I think, especially in the beginning.
Yeah. Because you don't, I mean, you want to know. It's hard, you know, because everybody wants to be liked. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's hard when people don't like you. Nobody would like that.
No.
I mean, maybe a masochist would like that, but I don't think most people don't like to be told how awful they are.
Yeah. I think taking, I mean, I didn't even, I haven't read your comments. I'm just, you know, I just think I know how people are when these shows come back and, you know,
Yeah.
they're odd. So is
Yeah.
it just, it's mostly on your Instagram or like people sliding into your DMs too and
Yeah.
just being like,
You know, it's all in fun. We're, you know, it's a show. So it's,
yeah,
yeah, it's fun.
that's good advice. Did the producers give you any advice? Like, and you know, like in the sense of like, you're going to go from being not, I mean, we're in quarantine, so we can't really tell right now, but you know, not recognized to like, you're going to walk. I mean, and I know you know, you're connected to Dolce and Gabbana, like you've had a life before this, but
Right.
this is just like on a different level of like, you know,
No,
Bravo fans and Housewives fans are like strong and deep.
so I'm learning that. Like I did, you know, I always watched the show, but I wasn't like a super fan. So
Right.
I'm learning they're serious. They do not play. But no, Jennifer Tilly actually told me last week, she said, you know what's crazy about this, Sutton? Is we're in quarantine and you're going to come, we're going to end quarantine and the show will probably be finished. We hope we'll be out before it finishes. And you're not even like, it's going to be crazy. I don't think like that. Like my brain can't even wrap around that idea. So I'm like, I'll be fine and be okay.
No, you'll be stopped for pictures and people will want to, you know, talk
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah. It
And
means it means daily makeup, which is the worst part of it all.
it's
Or really big sunglasses.
that too. And I actually think it's like less, it's even more when you are not in New York and LA. Like if you go airports or other places like
Oh
smaller
yeah.
towns, like I would think if you went to like Augusta, you would probably, people would not even, they would scream probably.
No, no. No.
We'll have this conversation after quarantine, 3 weeks after, and you'll tell me if you think I was wrong.
Okay, okay.
And
Fair
people are going to want to talk about everything. Like, I can't believe this. I can't believe Kyle did this. And it's
enough.
not even going to be about you. People are going to just want
Yeah.
to talk to you as if they know the actual people that
Yeah. I can see that. I could see where people would do that. I would be curious too.
let me see. So now you have good relations with all the girls today. Like you speak to them. It sounds like you speak to Kyle the most, but you speak to them all.
Yeah. Somebody said that half of the cast wasn't speaking. And I was like, look, we're in quarantine. I'll talk to anybody who wants to talk to me. If you want to talk to me and FaceTime with me, I'm taking the call.
That's
I
how I feel.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, my mom's calling. Yep, taking the call today. You know, it's just whoever it is, I'll talk to them.
Well, that's what I said. Cause like everyone who knows me knows I'm like a really social person. I live alone. Like these, like working, this is truly helping me get through quarantine. I don't know what I would do if I wasn't doing the show.
Me too, because I think I've had interviews every day this week, and because I'm very social. I like to go out and see my friends and
Me
get a,
too.
and I'm just like, oh law, this is I'm and my children are cute, but
How are they doing? Are they just like, what are we doing at home? This is horrible. Or are they just like, no, this is great?
they have, I think that their generation, they're so used to playing games with their friends and talking to their friends on that, that they're like, what's wrong? No, this is fine. I'm like, are y'all not going crazy? No,
Yeah.
no. Good for them.
I mean, now I'm like so
Yeah, because we're
used to
going
it.
to school. Of course, we love this, you know?
Yeah. Interesting. Now just some fun questions. If you were in jail and you had to call one of the girls, who would you call to bail you out?
Erica.
Why?
Well,
Is
her
it
husband's
Tom?
an attorney. Yes, I'm not stupid.
That's a good answer. What about for fashion? Who do you think has the best fashion besides yourself on your cast?
Erica.
Okay, okay. And who do you think, might need a little bit of help from you?
These are so mean. Well, I mean, I think what's hard is we all have very individual tastes. And so, somebody, I don't prefer like Chanel on my ears. Like that's not my style. It's and people love that. It's just not going to be me. So I wouldn't be a good person to style people on the show. I just like to stick to myself and what I like.
And who has Chanel earrings, Dorit?
Um,
Okay.
I'm not
Yes, the end.
shady. I don't mean to be. They look cute on her, but they would look ridiculous on me.
You're not being mean. It's me. I'm the one asking the questions.
Hey, your fault.
You could blame everything on me.
Your fault, David.
Do you know Lisa Vanderpump?
No, I don't. And people have asked me this, and like I'm supposed to know her. I don't know her. Um, the funny thing is that my store is a block away from all of her restaurants. So we have a lot in common. We don't have a lot in common. We're West Hollywood business owners together. Don't see her. And I was really hoping for Pride Week to happen. So I've been planning my float. So I was like, I wonder if she does a float. And we
She
could.
does a float.
She does. See,
Yeah,
I don't know these things, but yeah, I was like, maybe we could float together
that
because
would be a great idea.
right, we could bookend or something. My
She
float's
def
gonna be cute too.
Really.
Yes.
When is Pride there? The beginning of June or is it the end? Because it's
Oh, it
the
should be
end
at the
here.
end. It's supposed to be at the end. So we'll see. I hope that they can still do it, and you know, it might be
Mm,
postponed until fall. We don't know.
I was just gonna say because I don't even know what's going on in New York. I mean, I canceled all my plans in June. Like I was gonna travel, but like I still had plans in July. I'm actually supposed to be in LA and the OC in July.
Oh, really? Well, you can come by and see me.
I was gonna say,
Use some
we'll
champagne. You can stare at some art,
we'll
contemplate.
do that. I'll go to decades. I'll do it all.
Okay,
But let's hope that we are traveling at least within the US in July.
me too, because I'm sending my children to summer boarding school. They're gonna go to like a different school in Switzerland this summer. If
So you're
we
gonna so then you could really come out with me and have a drink then.
exactly.
Do you know any of the other like Beverly Hills housewives, like from the past, like Joyce Gerard, like Carlton?
I don't even
No.
know who you're talking about. I know I'm really not a good fan.
You know what? I think that is better. I honestly, I talked to someone like yesterday who was on a different show. I think like when you're really not a fan, I don't know. I find it a huge turn on. It just means that you are there for the right reasons. Because I think a lot of people come on certain shows just for the fame and notoriety.
No, and I did. That was not the reason I did the show at all. In fact, it was probably the reason I didn't do the show before. Again, because I really just wanted. This was a challenge for myself, and I also thought this is a great. It's a great opportunity. I mean, who gets asked to do this? And so why not do it when you're ready? And I'm so grateful, truly. Evolution Productions, they're amazing, and I'm just so happy I got to do it. It's been really, really great. It's great for self like reflection.
Totally. And
It's
like
not
you,
good, but it is like I don't need to do this show, not in that kind of cocky way, but it's really was about kind of exploring more parts of myself and challenging myself to do something that was really scary.
that's good. No, I mean, that makes sense. And it could be good for the business too.
Yeah, well, I mean, that happened, it really was serendipitous. Who knew that that was going to happen at all? I didn't.
Yeah, it kind of all tied together.
Yeah.
What was I going to ask you? What about Like, have you, other than the mean comments and all that, like, did you see this other thing? Like, do you know Eden Sasson? Did you see this? Did anyone tell you this?
No, I don't know her.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. Somebody, no, I haven't gone to. No, I haven't. No. I guess
Well,
I will after I say goodbye to you and I go investigate this. Somebody else asked me. I was like, I don't know. I don't know
it,
her.
it wasn't anything like, so she was on the show in the past. I don't even know if she's friendly with any of the current people that are on. I haven't really kept up.
Right.
Despite what people think, I don't know every little detail at every show that's ever existed on Bravo, ever. But I guess before the show came back, she posted like something of like the Golden Girls and meeting, like, I don't even know what the point of that was. And then when it came to you, she's like, who is this? Seriously? With like a question mark. Like, who hired her or something. But I think this was before she even watched you on the show. I just thought it was totally random.
Okay.
It's strange. It's just like, so I didn't know if you guys like knew each other or anything like that.
No, well, I guess maybe she has like a hidden hatred of me for no reason. But no, I don't know her. I'm sure she's lovely.
Interesting. So you would definitely like, how was your overall experience? Like, you're like, you had a great time, you would come back, you want to do it again.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The one thing, you haven't asked me about was like the diamond carrying thing.
Well, okay, this is my style. I saved the things till the end. I was
Okay, I see. And I
literally,
keep jumping in. I'm like, I know what you
no, you can jump in anytime. I just, like want you to get your story out there, Sutton Concept. I'm being very respectful to you, Sutton.
well, and I thank you for that.
I would have liked to have asked you about the diamond carrying thing within the first 30 seconds that we've been speaking, but
That's what I'm used to. So you were a gentleman.
thank you. Just remember that.
Yeah, okay.
When you want to give an exclusive on something like 6 months from now, just remember who was proper to you.
Okay, I will do. I will write it down in my journal tonight.
So tell us about that. Yes.
So, I mean, it goes back to just like I had a great time doing the show, and of course, I'm hoping that I'm gonna come back for a second season. One of the reasons I didn't get the diamond was because I couldn't give full access to my life, so I wasn't able to film with my children. So I would love to be able to do that to show people like I think there's so many facets of everyone has their own facets. And with the housewives, they really want you to give all facets of your life to the show. And I wasn't able to. And so that's what happened. We filmed, I did everything that, but we never got to that point where I was allowed to film with them. So hopefully next season.
And that was because your ex-husband doesn't want them on the show, right?
Well, yes. I mean, we co-parent, and so you have to respect, your co-parents' wishes.
That's true.
You know,
And then, well, so when you were hired, the plan was to have you be a diamond holder because you filmed, like you were in the pictures,
right,
and all that.
right. Yes, yeah.
And it was really just like as you were filming that they were like, oh, we can't have access to this. They figured it out in the
We knew
middle.
it was a problem while we were filming. We kept pushing through, hoping that things would change. And I think in the beginning of the year, it was just like nothing's gonna change. So, and I totally respect Bravo for that. I get it.
Yeah, that's respectable. And then like, I mean, I know you don't know for sure, but like, do you think your role then is decreased on the show? Like, are we going to see less of you like in editing because of that? Or we don't know. You
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I mean, hopefully, well, I was there for everything, so they can, you know,
Right. Like, just right. I, I hope so too. I think you and Garcelle are both like great additions. I mean, if we're only one episode in,
the
but
first episode was just so great and fun. Like, I want to see the second episode. I'm waiting for it too.
it was a great episode. The way it ended,
Yeah,
with
they did.
what's to come.
And it's funny because I lived it and I'm still like, what's going to happen next? I can't wait.
So were you were happy to see yourself on the screen, or you were just like cringing, like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that.
No, I thought actually, I thought I looked pretty cute and held my own. So,
Yeah.
that's all you can do.
Yeah. I
It looked
thought you
cute.
did well. Were you upset about the whole diamond thing, or were you just like, it's the same show I filmed? Or
It's
would
the
you?
same show. Yeah, I mean, it didn't. Was I upset? Well, yeah, I mean, of course I was disappointed, but I totally understood. But hopefully we're going to have lots of stuff to see all year. And who knows, it could be for the best, like baby steps.
Yeah, and I mean, like if you look at other franchises, I know you don't like watch them all, but like if you look at something like Real Housewives of Atlanta, there's someone named like Marlo Hampton. She's
Yeah.
doesn't have a peach, which is what they have instead of a diamond, but she's been on like every season more or less since the first, and now they're on the 12th season, and she's in the middle of like everything. So
Right. Yeah.
what's the difference, really?
Well, I guess, I have plenty of diamonds, but there is,
That's
is that bad?
that. No, I was gonna say that's literally the best answer you could possibly be giving.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I have plenty of diamonds, but one more would not hurt.
No, it wouldn't.
You
As
ever,
long as
you always have room for one more diamond.
seriously, do you know? I mean, I know that they basically help you with the taglines. Do you know what your tagline would have been?
No, no. So that's,
Maybe,
yeah,
maybe something with fashion or the concept.
maybe. I don't know. I always really kind of liked, I may be Southern, but don't ring my bell. I kind of played around with that, but I don't know. I didn't go through the process, so I don't even know. I think they give them to you. You don't get to make up your own. I mean, they have
I
people.
think, yeah, I think they give them to you. I mean, despite what some people think, I think it's pretty common knowledge. But that was a good one. I
Thank you.
may, I may
I,
be Southern, but don't ring my bell.
yeah, that'll work.
I like it. I like it. Is there anything else that you want to say? Like anything we didn't really get into?
Lord, we've been through enough. I think we've talked about everything.
I think, and you know, I didn't ask you so many devious questions, so to
They
speak.
weren't. No, no,
No,
you weren't. You didn't trick me that bad. No, but I would. I mean, of course, I think we all have to remember. I just have to push the stay home thing because I think we're all getting serious cabin fever, and I just really do urge people to stay home and stay healthy. That's important, and just remember those that are less fortunate than all of us are, for real. Like that's a really great gift to be able to help promote that
I
for me.
agree. And I just, yeah, I agree with all of that. We're like in the comfort of our own homes, most of us. And, you know, to me, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I've had debates about this. I am the type of person, the way my mind thinks, I think everything in life happens for a reason. That's just the way my mind thinks.
Right,
So even this, like, I mean, I think like if people can come out of this and maybe like relate to each other one on one, you
right.
know, instead of being buried in their phones and maybe like just, I think like a little step back, we've just kind of gotten so out of control with technology and all this stuff. Like maybe that's the whole point of this. I
Maybe
don't know.
I'm gonna say this. I think we're more well, in my house, probably more into our technology and our phones. So I'm gonna have to break them out, my children out of that habit and myself. But I think for us, it's learning not to use so many paper towels.
That's, you guys been going through paper towels like so rapidly.
I couldn't find any paper towels. I finally found some this week. So I have been hanging like a cloth to dry your hands off by the sink,
I
and not
get it.
I'm like this is called a hand towel.
Seriously. Well,
That's
my house looks like a Costco because I have like,
really
I have ordered and had delivered as if we're going to be in for about 6 months, which I don't think we are, but I just literally sparkling water and toilet paper. Like it literally is like
yeah.
power bars. Like
Mine's like that too. It's only more like the liquor aisle.
that's good too.
And wine, some mixers, important. You
That-
know, it's essential. Those are the essential things.
What's your drink? Do you have a drink of choice? I forgot what you ordered at that dinner.
I think I had champagne.
Oh yeah.
Yes, the la piscine, which is a real thing in France. And it keeps you hydrated because the ice is in there. If I drink champagne, I always have it with an ice cube and maybe sometimes a splash of vodka. But I really love vodka grapefruit. That's my go-to drink, or vodka lemonade. Those two.
I
Yeah.
like just vodka on the rocks or vodka in a martini glass with a.
It's about time.
Yes, I really appreciate you. I know you have a tight schedule.
Yeah, it's time. It's cocktail hour.
It is cocktail hour, especially for me. I'm 3 hours behind you
Oh,
or
yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
I have
Yeah. behind you.
I'm always 3 hours behind LA.
Well, I've been drinking, believe it or not, I've been drinking less in quarantine. All my friends have doubled down. I've realized like, I'm not an alcoholic, which I've had moments where I'm not so sure.
Right.
And I've just been like, I realize I'm just such a social person. But have you been drinking more?
No, I have a drinking regimen that I do.
Yes, which
So,
is,
well, like there's always like around 10, I think that's okay for like your first cocktail of the day. And then I do stuff. I've actually been exercising more, which surprises me. And then
me too.
like I try to like get that, it's just consistency through the day. So just then I'm nicer.
I think if you're used to having to drink at 10 a.m., you should just have it every day at 10 a.m. Like you're sticking to a schedule. You're actually doing the right thing.
You know what they say? Like you should, when you monitor what time you're allowed to drink, that means you have a drinking problem.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, I guess I can see that.
Like, why can't you have a drink at 10? What makes 5 o'clock so special? Give 10 a.m. the love too.
I agree. I feel you do what your body like, some nights you get a lot of sleep, some nights you don't. Some nights you eat, some days you eat like a pig, other days you eat really healthy. I feel like you listen to your body. So if you feel like you want to drink at 10 a.m., you just have it.
You just have it. Don't deny yourself right now. No.
Well, when you come to New York, we'll definitely, I'll come up to your area.
We'll walk over to the Regency.
There's a lot going on there.
I went on a date there one time.
Everybody goes on a date there, which I don't really understand because like I tell people all the time, like New York is really small, but the Upper East Side, like that little area is so small. So you go on did everyone know your business after the date?
No, I don't think so. I'm kind of anonymous in New York.
That's better.
Yeah.
That's better.
But it was a weird, I'm like, why are we on a date here?
It's I think Cafe Carlisle is the place you go.
People, it's not like bring your date there.
I agree. The Regency is where you go to meet people. Cafe Carlisle is where you go for the date, I think. Like those little booths.
Yeah, and you can talk and people aren't trying to hit on you.
Yeah. The Regency, everyone is hitting on everyone.
It is crazy. That's why I like going there. I like watching people try. It's so funny.
It's that popcorn they serve. I have a friend that calls it like popcorn. It's the best popcorn in New York, right?
So good. And that's the other thing. The Carlisle stopped making their homemade potato chips. That really burned me. I didn't like that when they did that.
Those were good. They were really good.
But their cashew things are pretty good too. And also at the Regency, they have like those cashews that are good.
They stopped the cashews.
No, why?
Yes. I don't know. Like I asked and I didn't get it. They give you pretzels or popcorn.
Pretzels, no. I'm out.
It's a waste of a snack, right?
Who wants a pretzel?
I've always said this.
Unless you have a good dip.
I want the popcorn or like a chip,
Yeah.
or like a warm nut. Yes,
Well,
that
yeah,
too.
nuts are good. They are. Well, that'll
But
be fun. We'll definitely meet up for a cocktail. I'm always up